Okay, we are live. Welcome everybody to FMA discussion. This is episode 46. We're featuring tonight Guru Thomas Pena. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. How about you?
Yeah, no complaints. We're dealing with as everybody is the wonderful pandemic, but our state
Yeah.
is we're actually kind of plateaued. We are. I think as of like presently, us in Rhode Island, New York are
Hmm.
kind of some of the southern states are getting rocked. So what I'm curious
Yes.
though, I haven't heard much about England. What's status quo over there?
Well, actually, in the UK, we are already starting to ease off with the lockdown. So a few weeks ago, the shops has already opened, restaurants have already opened, um, parlors or barber shops have already opened.
Yeah.
Um, Although it's going through stages.
Mhm.
Um, on the 25th, the leisure center um, and the swimming pool, basically where I work, will also open. So we have already started like putting things in place for our customers to come back. But at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm running classes outdoors
Yeah.
because actually it's much better to run the classes outdoors. You get less problems with the aerosols moving around.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've seen some of your postings where you guys are outside. Hey, I mean, it's at least you're doing something. You know what I mean? Keep your
Yeah,
students in the loop and all that, and keep in contact with them. It's been tough.
yeah.
I mean, up here we're going through phases. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like phase one was I think I forget what phase we're in. I'm just losing like track of all this, but
Nah, me
where
too.
everybody, I know it's where people got to be like 6 feet apart, and I don't think
Yeah,
contact yet, and just
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Outside, in the outdoors, we can maintain a closer distance, like less than 2 meters. But if you are going to be indoors, you have to maintain the 2 meter distance. And like
mm,
I think this on the 24th, if I'm not mistaken, mask is going to be compulsory in the shops now. Unlike before, when the social distancing was still being enforced, the masks aren't compulsory to be worn in the shops. But because it's becoming more relaxed now, they have to impose basically the wearing of the masks.
okay, yeah. It kind of sounds similar to what we got. Matter of fact, one state, uh, Julius, hey Julius, um, I guess California went back on like complete lockdown. I think that
Yeah,
happened last night, or Julius will give us the lowdown. But I think California just went like a couple people were starting to get back with their schools,
all right.
like in the last week or a couple weeks or
Yeah,
so, and now just like
they're locked
yeah,
down.
so
So
that
yeah,
stinks. Yeah, that stinks.
yeah, we got two cities that are in complete lockdown at the moment. So Leicester and I think it's Blackburn as well is in complete
Yeah,
lockdown. So they have to go back to it.
yeah, that's like when you're going backwards, man. That's just
It's hard.
yeah,
It's hard.
yeah.
Yeah,
Especially if you open, you get everything ready to go, and then 2 weeks later you're told to shut down. Man,
yeah.
that's tough.
It's
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard, and
Um,
especially to the mental health of the people. It's really going to be tough.
no, yeah, I mean, right, because yeah, it's tough, right? Especially depending on the lockdown or yeah. I mean, it's Maestro John said good morning.
Morning, John.
All right, we're gonna get started. I mean, so generally what I like to do is just always get like a little background as far as like your martial arts experience, then like kind of like your first FMA experience, and then kind of go into the meat and potatoes, so to speak, of what you really do, which is obviously LSA. But what I wanted to get is you have quite an extent, just looking up your bio and you have quite an extensive background as far as like to traditional martial arts. Was that all pre FMA?
Yes, they're all pre FMA. my love for martial arts started when I was young. So normally every Sunday, family gathers in my grandparents' house. So with my cousins, we love to watch TV series like Star Rangers, which is the forerunner of the Power Rangers. So and also those Japanese robot animes or cartoons, Voltes 5, Mazinger Z.
Okay.
So we try to act out, okay, all the fight scenes there, and that also includes the girls, okay. And then with the adults, we basically watch a lot of action movies, and that includes martial arts as well.
Mm.
So that's how I got into it. So just imagine without having any formal lessons, then I do my stunts, I do my gymnastics to the point that I have to go to A&E for a few times. So that is
Yeah.
sending my mom into almost like a heart attack. So
Oh my
yeah, that started.
gosh.
Yeah. So when I think it was late 70s when karate started becoming popular, the sports karate. I asked my parents if I could enroll. They said no because they don't want to
You were
see
too
me
much
back
of a
in the A
risk.
and E. Yeah, and race. Yeah. So it was actually in the um, 80s when I went to the seminary that I had my first taste of learning karate and taekwondo in an informal way. So it was in there that I started learning them. And of course, in the 80s, if you remember, you've got a lot of movies that are martial arts related. And you've got a lot of
Yeah, I mean,
martial
Karate
artists.
Kid,
Yeah,
Chuck
exactly.
Norris.
So, yes, all of them. You got Sincharat Rock. You got a lot of movies. So I was really into it. Um, my last during my when I graduated from the seminary in my high school, that was about 1986. I finally managed to convince my parents to allow me to enter a dojo or to train in a dojo, but that is because I found Aikido.
Okay.
Okay. So I read articles about Aikido, how basically you use your opponent's force against them, how it is
Mm.
more defensive from a very combative art, how Osensei or Yeshiba transform or evolve Aikido into a more defensive martial art. And because it doesn't uh, entail training with a lot of weapons, especially live ones, which my mom doesn't want,
Mm.
they allowed me. And because they're the ones who's going to be spending for my tuition. Yeah, okay, I'll settle with Aikido. So that was basically my first formal art. Um, so during that summer vacation from the seminary, when I started training in Aikido, I was in the dojo 8 times a week. So I spent
Oh, so you were
um,
dedicated. Okay.
I was really into it. Um,
Mm.
we had like everyday training during the weekdays. Then you've got the special training in the Saturdays. You've got two sets of training on a Sunday. So of course, the only deal that I have with my parents then is to make sure I don't forget my chores, and I don't in the house, and I don't forget my chores in the parish where basically I serve. So that was it. But yeah,
Okay.
I was there 8 times a week um, during 2 months during the summer period, and then dur- um, I entered the I entered the major seminary. And normally, when in the seminary, you're like stay in. Okay, so I didn't want to miss my training, so I asked the priests in the seminary if they would like to have Aikido as a self-defense training for the seminarians.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so which fortunately they said yes. So they gave me the green thumb. So I spoke to my instructor then, um, if basically he wants to go to the seminary to train seminarians. Um, So with that, I managed to continue my training while I was in the seminary, and I managed to work through my grading as well. So it's almost like never really missing anything at all, except that I only reduced the amount of time that I stayed training in the dojo. Um,
Okay.
I managed to get through some of my ranks while I was in the seminary, assisting my instructor in teaching Aikido to the seminarians. And then after 1 year, when I left the seminary, because my Jesuit uncle said, "Well, if you really want to become a priest, you might as well go out, finish a course, and then come back. If it is for you, then you're basically come back to priesthood." So I wanted to become a physical therapist um, that time, but because it was in demand, especially in the States, it's very hard to get to the course. You have a high quota because it's in demand for the students. So when I managed to enter UP Manila, which is the premier university, I didn't manage to get into physical therapy. So I ended up with a course that just allows me to get in the university, because
Oh, okay.
otherwise
Okay.
I won't be able to. But um, in doing so, that gave me more time to be able to train. So
Mm.
coming from school, basically go straight to the dojo and then come back home to study and everything. So I managed to basically work all the way through my senior student rank all to black belt in within 2 years time, basically when I started. So from 86 to
Oh,
88, I became a black belt. But that basically entailed, especially that last year, I have to spend more time training in the dojo during Saturdays or Sundays, because they have a special training for those who are in the brown belt and
oh,
black belt.
we're about to
Yeah.
advance there.
And
Gotcha.
when we say training in the dojo, it's not going to be 1.5 hours. No, most of the time it's about 2 to 3 hours. So
Yeah.
that's how much time basically I spent. So, but anyway, so 88, I managed to get my black belt. So I started teaching Aikido. Luckily, during this time, I changed my course as well. So I was thinking, I don't want to be working in the office. I think so it's not. It wasn't for me anyway. So I
Yeah.
have to find a course that will allow me to become an effective teacher. And I changed from a sort of an organizational or management course to bachelor in physical education, majoring in sports, because
Okay.
even in the seminary I was already like athletic. So I went swimming, I did football or soccer, I
Yeah.
did volleyball. I used to play basketball, but because I was one of the smallest, I'm always the last pick. So I my height doesn't cut. Okay, so
Yeah.
there. Um, in UP Diliman, I managed to start my dojo or my training group in Aikido. This is in DMST, or the Department of Military Science and Training. Um, what happened was, when I entered, or when I joined the University of the Philippines, we do have a mandatory Reserve Officers Training course, or the ROTC. Okay, so because it's mandatory, so you have to just pick your own. You just have to pick if you want to be in the infantry, or field artillery, or rayadillo, those platoons. So during the first day, they announced we're basically opening two new units. So that's the Special Forces Group and the Scout Rangers. So it was like, okay, special forces ring a bell because I watched Green Berets with my uncles and with my grandfather. So
Okay.
and I like basically the concept. And um, at that point, I was thinking, okay, I might actually get in the military. So I signed up for the Special Forces group, and most weekends we were basically training in UP Diliman. Okay, from Friday till about Saturday, sometimes Sunday morning. And um, during that time, I was sort of becoming like a combative instructor as well within the group, because we have to basically source ourselves with regards to training.
Oh, okay.
So my training officer allowed me to set up a group in the DMST. The deal is um, I will teach the officers, the cadet officers, for free, which is fine with me. Okay, because normally we work with them, we train with them during the reserve officer training course anyway. So I got to know quite a lot of them. So that group basically grew in the university. So um, after after 1 year of being black belt, so teaching in the university, I thought I need to augment my Aikido training.
Mm.
So I found a Chinese group in the area where I live, and I started learning Tai Chi and Qigong. Okay, so I did the 88 Yang style
Okay.
Tai Chi. So which again, that was my morning ritual before I go to school, because they start their practice at 5 o'clock in the morning. So most of the time I go there, come back home at around 7, and then go to school.
Okay.
So that became my second art. Okay, and because you've got a lot of similarities when it comes to the locks and the throws between Aikido and Tai Chi, and they use the same principle of using your opponent's force against them. So I said, okay, this is a good a good augment or reinforcing art for me. So side by side, I did both. I taught Aikido at the same time I was doing Tai Chi.
Okay.
Um, then my officer, my training officer, um, introduced me to his warangdo instructor. Okay, during that time, I was already reading some books about Michael Echanis.
Michael.
Michael
Oh,
Echanis.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
So he published, I think, about 4 books, and
Okay.
he said he was teaching like the SEALs, the unity, some combatives, and he is a proponent of Warangdo as well. So that sparked my interest with Warangdo, which is basically a Korean art. Um, and supposedly they were basically the same group that practices Sulsa, which is the Korean version of the ninjas.
Oh, okay. That's a new to me. Okay.
So I saw the demo of the instructor, of Sir William, and I said, "Yeah, I want to learn. I want to learn that particular Korean art." I did Taekwondo for a while, but of course it was an informal lesson. Um, I didn't I didn't like it that much as
Mm.
Warangdo, because with in Warangdo, when we spar, you have to be hitting your opponent a little bit
Mm.
more rather than just go for speed. And also, when you do sparring as you go through the grades or the ranks, you're already allowed some degrees of locks, throws.
Oh, okay.
So, which at one point I enjoyed more because, again, being short-legged, I cannot compete with my with the other students in Warangdo who are a bit tall. Some of them are about 6 feet. So during sparring, just imagine that. Just imagine for me to be able to get away out of the range of their kick, I have to move like take a step for 2 times. But for me to get in, it needs about 3 to 4. So most of the time, I end up going in and basically doing the throws and the takedowns, which was to my advantage. But it was good. And the forms were a combination of hard and soft. So there are certain moments that you're basically doing like something like a karate type of forms of execution. Then suddenly it went soft, like Chinese martial arts. So there was a good combination. And the good thing with my instructor then was that he managed to explain the application of the forms, even the most basic ones to the most complicated ones. So when we were learning the forms, we know that okay, this is how to apply it, and that is what I loved with Warangdo that time. My instructor was half Filipino, half Korean. Okay. So yeah, so that's basically my third art. Let's say. The Warangdo instructors, though, from time to time, they train with two periquets, with the Bakbakan group. They trained with Edgar Solite for Lameco, with the late Edgar Solite for Lameco, and some of them even managed to train with the late Tatang Ilustrisimo.
Fantastic.
So they cross-train because I mean, although I think the instructors in Warangdo during that time is still quite small, but they're quite tight, and they knew basically the other martial artists like Tupper. So in between some of our Warangdo sessions, my instructor basically started showing me some Lameco type of movements.
Oh, no kidding! Really?
Like footwork in Ilustrisimo, what basically they learn from two periquets, the difference between a caballero and an Ilustrisimo footwork. So he was showing me that.
So you got some of the because of the Mako lens, you got the caballero.
Yeah.
Where you would get right because that's the major weapon in Lamego. Fantastic.
And because my instructor then live in the same place as I was, so it basically we normally go home at the same time. We travel together. So sometimes after training, we do spend a little bit more time. He shows me certain movements, certain transitions. So sort of that became my initial a bit informal exposure to FMA. When I was studying,
So that was your first your first experience.
Studying, So I was like he was just showing me like the difference. But during that time, it still didn't light a fire in me. Although I was curious, but I was like, because I think he was showing a little bit of four styles, four systems. So it was like, for me, it was like, okay, I'm still trying to get the grips with Warangdo. So maybe when I am a bit more comfortable with Warangdo, then I might start.
Would maybe go back.
I might start basically venturing into FMA because during that time, although my main style was Aikido, and basically I was exposed to different systems or subsystems in Aikido. I had the 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 chance to train in Aikido Jutsu, but again in a more informal way, with a guest of a friend who basically came from the States. So he was showing this is the relationship of Aikido Jutsu to Aikido. I knew then that Aikido Jutsu was the father of Aikido, but to be able to be shown, okay, the relationship, the actual relationship between the two, it basically um, it gave more sense of how Aikido can be really effective in the street. A lot of people think that in Aikido we don't do any strikes, but actually we really do, except that some subsystems don't practice it as much as the others. So, I mean, you've got a whole spectrum of subsystems in Aikido, from the hard to the soft ones. So, but learning Aikido Jujutsu gave me a bit more perspective. So now, with the inclusion of Warang Do, there are certain locks and throws that are similar, but you've got those small nuances. So for me, it was like, okay, I need to get more comfortable first with making sure that I differentiate what is Aikido and what is Warang Do type of throws, locks, and reversals. Okay, so there. I managed to get, I think, to a above high rank student level in Warang Do before I stopped, because I was already graduating from the university. Okay, so third year, during one of the grading in Aikido, one of my students, Tom Ibanez, brought his uncle during the grading. So after the grading, he introduced his uncle, and this happens to be Elmer, GM Elmer, or the late GM Elmer Ibanez. Okay, so and then Tom told me that he teaches Arnis. Okay, and but he didn't specify what style it was. So I was curious. Then he did a demo. He took a stick, because we normally have sticks in Aikido anyway, because when we train, like when we do sparring, even with multiple attacks in Aikido, we have basically choices of weapon. So you can basically have sticks or knives or the bokken or the jaw, or basically go with punches or kicks. Different varied. Anyway, so he took the sticks, did a little demo, and basically just saying the power and the speed of his execution. It was like, I think I found my FMA.
Oh, you finally were sold.
So it finally went, yes. Okay.
So was it Bakan? It wasn't Master Ricketts.
Yeah, so,
it wasn't Edgar.
So because you can see that the intent, there is an intent on each and every movement, and the way he executed, him and Tom did a demo. The way he executed his movements, like, yep, okay, the power is there, the intent is there to neutralize the attack. It's, I would say, without being disrespectful to some of the other FMA styles that I've seen, they don't have that intent when they do their practice. So it's almost like sticks are touching. Okay. So for me, it wasn't that. Sorry. So it wasn't that convincing for me to during that time. So, but when I saw Elmer, basically did his work and everything, it's like, I think I found my art. And then while talking to him, so he basically explained to me what Lightning Scientific Arnis is and who is the founder, and that the founder, Mang Ben, was sent to Japan to study Jiu-Jitsu. So he said,
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
yeah,
okay. Okay.
I think it was if I'm not mistaken, it was Ferdinand Marcos, the president, who actually sent Mang Ben to Japan
Ah, okay. Oh, that's interesting.
to
Okay.
study. And I think it was the same time that almost in the same time that Jigoro Kano started popularizing judo. So from jujitsu to judo, so there was a relationship. Okay, so but yeah, and then he said that um, a lot of the techniques that he learned in jujitsu was basically um, in, well, basically he used it in some of the club disarms or club defense in Lightning Scientific. So
Okay.
when he showed me some of the club defense or disarms, I was like, yeah, I can actually see
Oh, so
the similarities.
you were
Yeah,
impressed. Okay. Okay.
yeah. So it's like, okay,
Um,
that basically is that's basically it. Yeah. So
Guru
from
Tom,
then,
Guru
yeah,
Tom, do you mind? I got a question here before more comments go down and I lose track of it. Do you mind answering a question from a viewer?
yeah, sure, sure.
Okay. And we got a couple comments. Patrick, Chris,
Okay.
Joel, Paul. Hey, Paul. Power Rangers. Yes, Julius. Bernardo. And then we got, I think Jack, Tuan Jack is calling you out. Will the demo consist of how FMA connects to the cha-cha and merengue?
Oh well.
I'm gonna,
Okay. There is a connection. There is a connection. Timing. We do have different timings when we deliver our attack. So remember, every movement that we do is musical at one
okay.
point. Okay, you basically move within the beat, or to be able to outsmart your opponent, you have to move out of the beat. So it's either you move before the little beat happens or slightly after. So that's where the cha-cha-cha
So
comes
yeah,
in, because cha-cha is comprised of two half beats and one beat of motion. So like, for example, when you do your redonda, you can go cha-cha-cha. That's one of action. And even with the
oh,
footwork, the shuffling
that's
action that we
interesting.
do in FMA, the shuffling
Yeah.
action that we do in FMA is actually the same footwork as with cha-cha-cha.
How fast? How interesting!
So
Wow.
there is a connection. There is a connection.
Huh. We're gonna have to when we get to the demo part, we're gonna have to see that.
That basically led me to dancing as well. So,
All right, Julius has a question. I
yeah.
missed the part earlier because my feed cut off. You are a Scout Ranger, question mark, or trained with the Scout Rangers while you were in the seminary?
No, no, that was when I was already in UP, in UP Diliman. So that is
Okay,
basically
okay,
my when I did my reserve officers training course. So
okay.
I signed up for the special forces group, and even after 2 years of finishing my basic training, I went on advanced training. So I became basically a non-commissioned officer, cadet non-commissioned officer.
Okay. Hopefully that helps, Julius. All right, so let's get back because we got a ton of questions. So you're okay. So you're meeting GM Elmer,
Yes.
and you're obviously liking what you see thus far. So is it safe to say this kind of led to you obviously studying with him?
Yes, that led me to studying with GM Elmer. So there are times that he goes to the dojo or to the place where we train in Aikido, and sometimes during my break time, I go and train with him. And
Okay.
also, he started like a small group
Okay.
in in UP Diliman, where I also from time to time train, and that's where I had the honor of basically training also with Professor Botocano. So
Oh,
he
okay.
was one of the initial
He was
students
on,
as
right.
well
He
of
did mention that.
yeah. So yeah, we did have some Bigay Tama sessions or training with each other before. So yeah, um, I basically
What
train as much as I can. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. So then, what I mean, so you're starting to train with him, and I know we're gonna get to obviously a demo soon, but like, what was the um, like, what did he stress? I guess, so to speak. Like, did he? Is there any principles, concepts he stressed in particular?
Um, um, During that time, we were we were basically like training with the 13 strikes, the methods, and
Okay.
basically we started doing our partner drill mostly with the Bigay Tama. Okay, so with other FMA systems, basically you start off with like sombrada. Okay, so that's your give and take type of practice. In Lightning Scientific, basically we started more with Bigay Tama. Um, it's a simple yet effective way of learning how to manage your range, learning how to do your footwork, learning how to develop precision with your strike, and at the same time, learning how to get in and out, okay,
Okay.
of your partner's range. So there, and from that basic practice, so it you will be introduced to different angles of strikes, okay, and most of the time, these strikes come in a different succession. So they're not always choreographed.
Okay.
Okay. So at the beginning, yes. Okay. So you, you'll be given like a you'll be given a certain pattern, and then he goes out of the pattern, feeding you angle one, angle two, overheads, stabs, and for you to react. Sorry, I just need to drink.
No worries.
So yeah, um, that's basically how. And it's always part of our conditioning.
Okay.
Okay, before you even get to the point of learning how to do disarms, you have to make sure that you understand that part, because otherwise uh, you won't be able to understand how to in get in to do any kind of disarm if you're
Okay.
not comfortable basically in that basic bigay tama.
Okay.
Yeah, at that point he was a little bit more, I would say a little bit more verbatim with the way he was teaching. Uh, so from what he learned from Mang Ben, just basically goes straight to us. Although there were already, I think there was a point wherein he was also already trying to experiment on certain things. But that manifested when I wasn't already training with him. Um, Botokano will be able to tell more of that. But yeah, during our time, it's like okay, 13 strikes, conditioning drills, methods. Okay, you have to do this 100, 200 times. Okay, and then bigay tama. And there's certain times when he brings out um, um, the gear, the protective gear. We did some sparring, and that is when you could experience like becoming a pincushion or a moving uh, moving chair for GM Elmer. It's just one strike for mine. He has already like managed to put in five. So it was like I just enjoy like hearing the hit coming on my helmet and my body.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding,
So
ding, ding.
yeah, exactly. So you go once, you go that's it, and then he goes, "You're too slow." Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. I have another.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, let's go again. Okay. So yeah.
So then,
Yeah.
Okay, so how long, because I know at some point there was a transition from GM Elmer to GM John, correct?
Oh, took me a while because I I trained under GM Elmer until I graduated 1992
Okay,
from my,
okay.
from my bachelor's degree, and then after that, because of work, um, I stopped completely from training. The only thing that I managed to maintain in UP that time was basically my Aikido group. So I
Okay.
didn't manage to train with him. And then even after 1 year of working in Xavier School, I was offered a position in UP, in the college where I graduated from. So I was thinking, yes, I'll be able to come back and train with him.
Mm,
Okay, but the life of a university teacher or professor is quite busy, and especially when
man.
I started, I was given responsibilities as well to moderate um, student organizations as extracurricular work for me. So I was like, I became the advisor of the UP cheerleading squad, and also the UP Social Dance Club. But luckily, at that time, I managed to also have the UP Aikido Society be recognized by the university,
Okay.
because I was already teaching there, and I became like their instructor and advisor, faculty advisor as well. So I didn't manage to get to train with GM Elmer. Although when I was doing my master's degree, uh, there are there are some courses that he was my classmate. So I still
Oh,
managed to speak to him. Yeah, I managed to speak to him quite a lot with about what's happening with Elsai in UP. So there. Um, the It was the only time that I managed to reconnect with Master John is when I was already here in the UK. I left teaching UP in 2002,
oh, and then you
um,
moved. Okay, okay.
and moved to the UK. But during the time when I left UP, Master John was still in the Wushu club. So he was a long-haired guy teaching Wushu. I mean,
Oh,
that's how close we are in the university back then. Um, Sports, fitness, martial arts basically were basically our main part of our life back then. So we used to see each other during martial arts demonstrations, and sometimes we come across each other when after training, because we train in the dojo in a secured place, and they were training outside. So normally we just see each other. Um, when I moved to the UK, I managed to teach Aikido first, because the leisure center I was teaching at, they asked me to teach fitness, and they asked me to teach dance as well. And they do have the like about 6 mats, and there were some people looking for like Aikido, so they asked me if I could teach them. So I said, yeah, okay, I'll teach them. Until they said that, well, they actually practice also FMA, but in another style. So they said, because you're Filipino, do you teach FMA or do you practice FMA? So I said, yes, I did practice FMA, but I haven't been practicing for a while now, and I didn't basically got ranked from GM Elmer.
Okay.
Because during that time I wasn't like really, I wasn't thinking of getting ranked.
Right.
So
Right.
I was just there to practice. So there. But yeah, I can show you some moves. So I basically showed them some moves from Lightning, and basically they fell in love with it. So they
Oh.
started telling me, "Why don't you teach?" I said, "Well, I can't because I don't have any kind of certification." So what we did then, and of course I said, I can't really like charge you even for teaching you something that I'm not entitled to. So what we did was, after Aikido practice, we spent about 20 minutes, 30 minutes just doing some Arnis. So until 2006, when I first visited the Philippines, um, I was looking for Grandmaster Elmer. But I found out that he left for the States, and I think that time he already died of cancer. Bless him.
Oh, he had passed.
So he managed. That's when I managed to link up with Master John.
Okay.
Let's see what you remember. Come to my Sunday group, okay, and try to revise, try to review. I'm going to assess you after. If you at least pass a certain standard of my assessment, then you can start a study group. So which I with the remaining time that I have left from, my vacation, my trip to the Philippines, I did put some time revising, reviewing with Master John with his group.
Oh, okay, so kind of brushed
So
up.
after that, yeah, I need to rehash everything. I need to get myself into the gears of what is this, what is that. Nuances, tama, basically how do you process. Then when he saw that, okay, at some point I passed, when he gave me that final assessment, okay, he gave me the blessing to at least be able to teach just the basics, but with the condition that I need to carry on doing some online lessons with him. And online lessons with him that time is video yourself doing this, send it to him, and then he basically does a critique and what I need to improve, which is for me. But when I got back, a study group immediately because I wasn't still confident that I'll be able to lead a study group. So I just basically told my students then, okay, just carry on doing what we did before until I'm ready. Because otherwise, I said I might basically mislead you or to the wrong. I want to make sure that I'm comfortable and confident enough to what I pass on to you.
Okay.
So until 2009, that's when I started basically opening a club. So we called it the Lightning Kali Combatives, and we basically teach the Lightning Scientific Arnis through Master John, or the John Scudero Lightning Combative System.
And to this and current status, that's still what you're doing too, correct?
Yeah, that's what I'm still doing.
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky basically to be able to continue Mang Ben's lineage through Master John's teaching. So yeah.
So how about, would this be a good time for the first demo? Or what do you think?
Sorry?
Would this be a good time for the first demo?
Oh,
what
yeah.
do you think?
A demo? Oh, okay. I just need to call my son.
on the,
all right, okay.
On the Lightning.
Yeah, okay. So, Lightning Scientific Arnis. The heart and soul of Lightning Scientific Arnis is basically, as according to Master John, is Espada y Daga, Persia Serrada, cadenilla. So I'm going to break it down a little bit. At least espada y daga is something that we already understand. So it's basically blade and knife. Okay, but of course, in our case, it's going to be more baston y daga. Okay.
Okay.
One thing that differentiates, I would say, lightning with other FMA styles is that when we hold a stick, we use it as an impact weapon, not a substitute for a blade. But that it doesn't mean that we do that as well. But primarily, it's more of an impact weapon. So our body mechanics, our footwork should basically support the stick as an impact weapon. Okay, so we'll show you a few espada y daga movements.
Sure.
So that's my son.
Oh, okay.
Can you see him?
Thank you for volunteering.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to keep this fairly subdued because we have two nurses who have duty tomorrow. Okay, so we have to keep it nice and slow, and I don't want to be hitting the furnitures. Basically have two ways of controlling the attack. So it's either we go out to the side, okay, or we stay in the center line, okay, which basically produces a different effect. Okay. The principle that we're basically using is what we call in lightning scientific as a cerrada. So cerrada is basically making sure that you close your opponent's weapon system or his line, shut down his line. Okay? So you go out to his side, making sure that I can manage to just reach him immediately. Okay? As opposed to staying in front of me, that basically gives me all weapons to be used. Okay? So I'm going to try this again. So from here, he comes back with a half strike, I come back with a knife, then from there, working. Now, you see, the second thing that he's doing is basically he's trying to destabilize me. So he wants to make sure that my structure is not that stable. Otherwise, I'll be able to get back. And then the cadenilla is basically the chain strikes that he's going to be doing.
Okay. After he's got your arm somewhat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's basically one. And then from here, right, so from here, he goes to my center line, but from there, he again closes me.
And then checks.
Okay, and then again gets into this destabilizing me, and that's the cadenilla. Okay?
And then he...
Right. Okay, so in the same sample, he does the espada y daga, he does a cruise, but he stayed in the middle. So that allowed me now to do a payong. Again, he goes out, okay, and then do the cadenilla.
Excuse me, Tom.
So, yeah.
Tom, just on that last one, he was a little out of the picture as far as the last technique you were doing when you started doing it.
Okay, gotta move here.
That should work.
So
yeah, that should work.
Yeah, so from here, so sometimes, okay, you can't just move out to my side. So you're basically pushed to stay in the middle first. So I get back into the same espada y daga. He did a counter, which I managed to block, and I'm going to do a 13. And from there, he does a payong, checks me, and he now goes around me or blindsides me while he tries to still destabilize me. Okay. So that's an example basically of our principle of cerrada and cadenilla. Okay, so cerrada is basically to make sure that you close your opponent. Okay, you destructure him, destabilize his structure, and overwhelm him with chain of strikes. Okay. So we're going to do another example, single sticks. Okay. Now, when we do baston cerrada in lightning, okay, it is like a umbrella name. Okay. But when you do your baston cerrada, again, you go into one, you intercept the attack, make sure that you are in complete control of your opponent. Again, making sure that you're destabilizing him. Okay, and then do your chain strikes. Okay, so one more time. So in lightning, basically one of the trademarks of lightning is getting as close as possible to your opponent as immediately as you can. You want to intercept the attack. Okay, so you don't want to stay a lot of time within that largo range. Okay, you immediately want to go in and control. Okay, so you have one option. Okay. Option A, chain strikes. Okay. Option B, if you want to do a disarm, and he was still, if you notice, it's basically like controlling. He's almost on top of me. So it's basically his position and his movements are overwhelming me. So that's
I have one question.
Of,
no, I mean, thank you very much.
How lightning is. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. When he's closing in on a serrata, is he going palm up or palm down for the control mechanism?
Just from here, it's a palm down.
Palm down. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you notice the way he's holding my hand, it's almost kind of trapping my stick. So I can remove it. Okay, if I want to pass it to my other hand.
Yeah, he's got your thumb. I see.
And then yeah, and then from here, if he basically if he only wants to like push me, notice the way his elbow is sitting on my body. That basically traps this arm, and even for me to turn, okay, it basically slows me down.
Sure.
Yeah. So that basically is just it's almost like it's mowing me down.
Yeah. No. Thank you. Yeah, I was wondering the control mechanism. Like I was trying to see if he was palm up or palm down, but I like what you're saying about the hand there controlling, holding onto the thumb where you can't like really switch or anything like that. Nice.
Yeah. Because if you like, for example, if he holds basically just my wrist, then I'll be able to.
No, you can
Okay, I'll be able to counter or pass it to my left hand. So
No, I think it's a great control mechanism.
So
yeah.
Yes.
No, that was neat. Thank you. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, thank your son too. Okay, I just get back on track here as far as the question. That was great. Thank you so much again for that. So I guess what is it? Okay, what is lightning scientific Arnis? You know, you kind of went into this, but maybe for some of the people who came later, what is it known for? Like if you were to briefly sum it up to somebody who maybe just never seen it, like what? How could you describe it? Like, what is it? What is the characteristic of?
The characteristic of lightning Arnis is basically intercepting your opponent's movement and overwhelming him with chain strikes or successive strikes that are basically well placed. Okay.
No, it's great.
So and like I've said, when we practice with the sticks, we we basically use the stick as an impact weapon.
Mm.
So the way we try to generate power with it, the way we use the stick, it's from the context of an impact weapon.
Yeah, no, I thought that was nice. Thank you. What are you currently doing? I mean, like, before we get on to the next thing, to further promote LSA as a whole, just because like on in the in the test run we did, like I was mentioning to you, I don't know of anybody in the States, like somebody, and it might have been you, but somebody mentioned there's somebody in Virginia, I think, or something that might be teaching that. But other than that, I know of nobody and I'm not saying there's not anybody. I'm just saying personally, me, I don't know of anybody that's
Yeah.
actively teaching this in the States. So it's not common, you know. Um, so I guess,
Um,
what I'm asking is like, you know, what are you guys' plans? Maybe like to bring more light to it or more exposure to it, as far as not just the United
oh,
States per se,
yeah.
but globally, I guess.
Yeah. At the moment, um, it's through Master John's effort, basically, he is the current global ambassador of Lightning Scientific Arnis. He is based in Israel, and because he
Israel.
is out of the Philippines, or because of where he is now, he is in the position to be able to reach out and help out also other lightning scientific groups outside of the Philippines. So he he normally goes like to Australia. We do have a group in Australia, and that is led by David Bardos. We do have a few groups in the States. In DC, it's led by Angelo Garcia. In Houston, Robert Montifar. We got in Seattle in MKG itself. I think it's Andy Bryce. We do have one in Costa Rica, led by Eldad. We do have one in Vietnam, which is led by Guy Fawkes. We do have one, and of course, in the Philippines, led by Fatima Fable. So at the moment, with the way, the good thing with the way Master John is teaching the LSI is he evolved the syllabus or the lessons that he got from Mang Ben and uh, GM Elmer through Lescas. So he has his own style. He has his own
Mhm.
evolution of basically teaching it. Like before, when we learn the 12 methods, it's verbatim. You have to memorize this. Okay, so basically this is method one, this is method two, method three, and if you look at it, it's almost like, why isn't it in a particular flow? So it's almost like when you talk method one is basically largo range. Method four is largo range, but method two and three, you get into corto. So there must be a reason why Mang Ben did it that way. But
Huh.
with John, he started teaching it in a more, let's say, in a more clustered way. So it makes it easier for you to understand, okay, these are progressions. And if this happens, this is how we use this particular method or this particular application. Okay?
Okay.
And he also has a passbook, which, hold on.
Okay. Thank you, Jack. So Angelo
Here you go.
Garcia is in the Virginia
Yeah.
area. Okay.
So every
Okay.
member of the JELC or John Scudero Lightning Combative basically has this training passbook. And in this passbook is basically, it's like your guide.
Oh, how wow.
Everything that, yeah,
Huh.
that you have to basically have to achieve within a particular rank. Okay, so as a student, you
Oh, neat.
basically
It's
have
all right
5
in that
ranks.
book.
Yeah.
Pretty neat.
And
Wow.
and the thing is, because you don't have to learn this like A B C D E F G. So
Hmm.
as long as basically you know that, okay, these are your um, uh, core subjects or core skill sets, and these are basically your augmenting skill sets, and these are basically some of the exercises to develop these skill sets. So they are all basically in this passbook. So you've got
That's
a guide.
fantastic. Wow.
Yeah, he spent time with this one. Just imagine
No,
how
I know,
many
but I
pages
mean,
this is.
how resourceful for the student who, I mean, how
Yeah,
such an organizational
yeah,
asset that you have this with everything in there, this guideline and the syllabus per se, everything in there. No, I think that's
yeah.
incredible on his part
It
to
is.
provide that first.
Yeah,
Oh, I mean, good on
and
him.
even actually
Yeah,
now he's revising it at one point. So yeah, but
but
this is
still,
very helpful even for my student. Yeah,
yeah, but I think that's
yeah,
that's excellent. I think if I was a
so
student,
yeah,
I'd appreciate that.
and yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely, this is a very handy guidebook for all of the students,
Yeah.
um, in Lightning Scientific Arnis. Yeah, because at least you
No, I
know, okay,
bet.
within level one, what are the skill sets that I need to be able to become comfortable with, or that I need to achieve. Okay, and
Mm.
yeah, you can basically write notes on it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Good. No, good on him. I mean, that's
yeah,
um.
and I think even at the moment he is on writing a book as well. So
Oh, wow. I'm looking forward to that.
yeah,
Just because I just want to catch up on the comments here, Guru. Um, Let me see. Yeah, two on Jack. The late Elmer was impressive to watch. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check him out. Brian, are you? Hello, thank you, Brian.
yeah.
Um, Ali Pollard. Okay. For those that never seen, oh, that was nice. Two on Jack put a link so people could see you move. So
Dance
we'll all be
moves.
watching tonight. Julius has got another. Did you ever train at Fort? Oh, brother, Magse say? Sure, I'm doing an abomination on that
Yes, I.
pronunciation. Magse,
Um,
Magse.
uh, plans of training in that in Fort Magsaysay was cut off because 1991, I think, was the start of the coup d'etats. So there were a lot of military coups in the Philippines that time, and the special forces group were basically used. So
So you weren't.
there was a setback on some of our, yes, there was a setback on some of our training. But
Okay,
yeah, I think we did one. So yeah.
okay. And then Daniel also. Glad you were doing well in the UK, brother Tom. Wishing you
Thank
luck, and
you.
may the FMA population get bigger in your city without the dirty politics, of course. I think we're
We're
called.
trying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think we're all are. Huh?
But I mean,
And
mind you, FMA here is
yeah,
not as, I would say, as popular in the States.
it
It is
is, or it
popular, but
is.
it's not as
Oh,
popular
not
there.
as. Not as.
Now,
Yeah, but
if I if
you
I
guys
want,
are your country's significantly, smaller though,
sorry.
too. You know, your country's significantly
Yeah,
smaller
but
as well, though. So maybe in ratio, you're saying?
not just that. There is a stigma here when it comes to training with weapons because of the law, because of the way police will
Okay.
basically look at you when you start training with weapons and everything. I've
Oh, yeah, I
tried
meant.
a few times. I've tried a few times offering FMA, as an augmenting as an auxiliary training to the police here, they don't want to take it. They don't want to take
But
it
don't you guys
because
have a rash, an increase of stabbings? Like, hasn't in London per se, has there been like an increase in stabbings?
yeah,
Wow.
we do.
So they don't want to be
We do, and it's
proactive. They don't
becoming
want
actually. No, it has something to do here with the law when it comes to self-defense. um, the it's a although with some people it is clear of what you can do when it comes to self-defense, but the problem is if you do it with for example, with a weapon. Okay, if you manage to defend yourself without any weapon, it's fine. But if you're going to do it with a weapon, that's already 50-50 depending on the circumstances. Now, the problem is if they knew that basically you are training with an art that basically trains a lot with weapon, to them, if you manage to use it in a self-defense scenario, it could be marked as premeditated. So, but
Good
it's
heavens.
again, it's yeah. But like when I spoke, for example, to the police, I offered this. They said, well, they have a list of martial arts that they can practice. FMA is not one of them. Because although our art is effective, especially as far as dealing with violence with weapon is concerned, but at some point, the way it is being promoted or packaged, it is being deemed as a violent art.
Oh, good
If you
heavens.
see, I mean, we don't see it that way, but other people do see it that way. So
gosh,
to them, they would rather like in their list, yeah, they could learn Aikido, they could learn Jiu-Jitsu or BJJ or karate, because
FMA.
all their arts basically are empty hand or doesn't train with weapon. But the thing is, yeah, but if you're going to be dealing with an attack that has a weapon outside, you need to learn how to you need to learn how to you need
You
to
need
learn
to
how to use
understand the offense
your
or
baton.
the offense.
Exactly.
I mean,
I
mean, true.
Yeah.
Well,
They do have yeah, but yeah, they do have a dilemma, I would say, in even like for example, they learn how to use a baton, although they only revisit or they do their training once a year. But if they get into a situation, they are still hesitant to use their baton. Okay, because if they draw their baton to use it, that's gonna be according to them about 10 pages of paperwork to be filled in.
Oh,
and there's going to be a scrutiny involved.
Right, so they're probably
like,
gonna do it only when they absolutely,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So they do have a dilemma. They do have a dilemma. Yeah.
That's just weird because I distinctly remember like a year or so ago, like just hearing the rash of like the frequency of knife attacks in London. Like, like it was, I mean that it was like I just remember a lot of people talking about it right on on Facebook. There were some people that were covering it in certain groups. I just distinctly remember hearing that this increase, in knife attacks and how they wanted to outlaw knives, or it got kind of crazy like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but a lot of them are gang related anyway. A few of them Yeah, a few of them are like innocent civilians that were victimized, but a lot of the uh, a lot of the things that you see are more gang related.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's also one of the reasons why sometimes other people will basically think, well, I don't belong to a gang, so most probably I won't get attacked. So what's my need to learn self defense?
Yeah.
That is their logic. Crazy.
I mean, right. That's just wow. Yeah, that's well, hopefully things change over there. But now, which leads us,
Hopefully.
because we're, I mean, this has been fantastic, by the way. We're going over time and all that, and we got a lot more to cover. Um, but so let's, your part, and this is really interesting, and I want to definitely hear about this and what what it entails and how it came about and your role in it more specifically, and that is the British Council of Kali, Escrima and Arnis. So what is it and what's your role in it?
Okay. The British Council of Kali, Escrima, Arnis instructors was, I think it was instituted sometime early 2000. You've got a lot of Arnisadors here or Scrimadors, which are basically, a lot of them are from Doce Pares system.
Yeah.
So they go to the Philippines, they compete, and um, they responded to the call of the late Roland Dantes
Oh, okay. Okay.
to basically to make also to create a council for Kali, Escrima, and Arnis instructors over here in the UK. So the um, Grandmaster Pat O'Malley of Rapid Arnis is
Okay.
basically the person that Roland Dantes spoke to. So when he came back here together with some of the guys coming back from the Philippines from a week of competition, they started the British Council. Now the idea of the British Council is basically to be able to bring in um, the styles, okay, the major styles or the represented styles together, and be able to promote FMA.
Okay.
So every year, I think it might have started around 2006. We do have the FMA festival. Okay, so all the senior reps of different styles, you name it, like Calis Illustrissimo.
Oh, neat. Okay.
You've got a few, yeah, you've got a few Doce Pares because you've got the Kakoy and the other styles of Doce Pares. We do have three Balintawaks or two Balintawaks in the group. Um, and we have, like in Lightning, we do have two. Master Sean, a direct student of Mang Ben, is basically represents Lightning as basically the original one,
Okay.
and then basically I represent the Lightning coming from John
From your
Scudero's lineage. Yeah. So there. Um, so yeah, we do have quite we do have also like modern Arnis as well.
hmm
We do have La Ponte. We do have uh, Uno, Dos, Tres. We do have quite a variety. So every year, all these reps or board of directors basically come together. We do hold a seminar, a weekend seminar for 2 days.
Oh, neat. Oh, wow. That must
So
be.
which has been basically successful because we target not only FMA practitioners, but we also target non-FMA practitioners. We invite them to attend the festival, basically to give them a
Mm,
taste of what FMA is. So we teach varied
sure.
skill sets from empty hand to dumog to solo baston, doble baston, espada y daga, even Like we teach tactical torch as well, how to use the torch for self-defense. We teach like tomahawks. We teach karambits. Yeah, it's a variety.
Oh,
And
how
yeah,
neat.
we
Like,
do sometimes get we do get people signing up for a particular
oh, sure.
style after having a
Yeah.
taste.
Oh,
So
I
at
bet.
least
I bet.
it's almost like window shopping. So
Yeah, you're right.
they've given a
You can
taste
look
of
at,
the different
yeah,
styles, and then they can take a pick later on. So yeah,
they can choose what appealed to them or what they liked, and
yeah, yeah,
I mean
exactly.
that's fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm just concerned we're running over, which is not an issue with me. However, though, how late is it over there for you?
it's 20 past 1 a.m. I'm fine.
Okay, okay, later.
except that my except that my son is already asleep, so I won't be able to do the second demo. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. That was my next question. Like, how long are we gonna have him for? Sorry. All right, let's the next thing is, okay, so you got involved with the no lie blade and the surviving attack, knife attack.
A knife attack.
What can you tell
Yeah.
us about that?
Okay. Um, One of the things that basically um, I always do is to research ways to be able to effectively teach FMA. Okay,
Mm,
so to the point of like investing, like what gear, what tool can we use to be able to
sure.
teach it effectively? Now, Grandmaster Anton of Cacoy Doce Pares, and who also owns a an academy, a martial arts academy in Plymouth. Okay, and one of my friend Chris Valdez, who is now in Canada, we got together one time. We taught FMA as a special seminar to some of his students and also some of the FMA students in the South. So me and
Okay.
Chris went there. Then we started talking to each other, saying, "Okay, we would like to start an edge weapon awareness program." Okay, so to be able to deliver an effective program for edge weapon.
Yeah.
So basically, knife work, knife awareness, and all those things. So we were like, but what are the tools that are available in the market so that we can teach this effectively? Because I mean, it's like playing airsoft. If you can withstand being stabbed, you can always deny that you got hit. Okay,
Yeah.
but you need a tool, especially when you want to teach self-defense, to be able to give an immediate feedback. Okay, so
Mm,
without denying that, okay, I got hit. Okay, so we were first looking at shock knife, which
oh,
the
shock
type of
knife.
knife that, yeah. But the problem
Yeah.
is, because it has electricity, we cannot just buy it here in the UK. Okay,
Oh, okay.
because
Okay.
it could be like a taser or something. So there is a law
Oh,
for anybody to just buy it. Okay,
those are
and it is
expensive
expensive as
too.
well.
Yeah.
So
Very.
yeah, especially importing it from the States.
Yeah.
So Master Anton
Mm,
basically came across with this marking tool developed by Hank Hayes of No Lie Blade, which is this. Okay, so the edge is
okay.
felt, and all you need to do
Okay.
is basically put lipstick on it.
All
And
right.
once you get cut, once you get stabbed,
Yeah.
immediately
It's
you
pretty.
see
You can't deny it.
you see the feedback. You see that you get stabbed and you get cut.
Yeah.
And because it is again made of like metal, you still have that look that okay, that is
Yeah.
going to
Look, the
be
integrity
that is going to
of
cost.
a real knife. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So So from here, initially Master Anton just asked Hank, okay, where can we buy your tool? Then they got into talking, into offering the system, the package in the UK. So
Okay.
that's how Hank basically got here. Um, Part of the plan is to be able to offer this to the Marines as well and to the law enforcement officers, which didn't actually push through because again of certain reasons. Um, but yeah, we we did a 3 day or actually a 4 day course in Plymouth to become instructors for the no live blade system. Okay, and this is where I got to test as well some of the concepts, some of the
Okay.
movements from both FMA and Aikido. Which one would work? Which one won't? Okay.
Mm,
Now, for myself, okay, this is my standpoint on that one. Um, if you're doing a particular maneuver or a particular self defense movement, like for example, for me with a fellow Filipino, same height, same build, I would stand a
yeah.
chance in doing it, which I
Right.
have basically before. But doing it against the English or Caucasians who have basically like bigger built than me,
Mm,
stronger than me, even core wise is stronger than me,
yeah.
I there's going to be a slim chance that I'll be able to survive it. Okay, and especially if they
Yeah.
start like
Yeah.
taking you down to the ground. Okay, now
Yeah.
I put myself in. Okay, so let's see what would work and what would not. Now during the training, we are wearing white shirts, which basically would give you a definite. It's like a whiteboard,
Feedback.
basically. So every training
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
we change
No
shirts.
arguing.
Yep. So
Yeah.
we had like a pre-test. Okay, you got 1 minute. Have a go at each other. 1 minute
Mm,
when you know that this is gonna make a line on your skin or on your shirt. It's almost like eternity still. Okay, so yeah,
yeah.
and
You really just.
yeah,
Oh.
okay.
Yeah.
So there came in the realization that okay, I need to approach even the way I teach knife work or knife awareness or edge weapon awareness differently because
Mm,
I might be able to make my techniques work for me, but if I teach it to somebody else, what is the certainty that it will work for them?
that they're
So
wrong. Yeah. Right. Right.
I have to be able to give them an alternative. And especially
Hmm.
if we would like to teach self defense to people who are non martial artists, they won't.
Your average weight, right? Your average person. You know. Uh-oh. This hasn't happened in a while. We lost him, which fortunately with other countries, this is not uncommon. Um, you know what? We might have to do a part two because he's got some other stuff to finish up. Just see if he's still on. Um, he's actually not even on. Bummer. Yeah, folks, I'm thinking we're going to have to do a part two. I'm just not even seeing him online when I'm looking at my desktop, which means generally speaking, something happened to his internet just from past experience dealing with this. So yeah, we're gonna have to cut it, unfortunately, and all that. But he's definitely gonna merit doing a part two with him. There was some other stuff regarding the system he was just talking about, and some general stuff regarding today's FMA and all that. So yeah, part two is gonna have to definitely happen. As a matter of fact, I could probably even get that early. Matter of fact, even early next week, I believe. So it wouldn't be too much of a time gap in between. But I'm looking at the desktop and I'm not even seeing him. So he obviously had something going on with his internet. Um, yeah. Oh well. But folks, I'm going to reach out to him and yeah, we'll get him back on. But again, those of you who watched and the questions, thank you. And but yeah, Tuesday, we should be able to wrap this up or finish up, or at least latest next Thursday. All right, sorry for that. This has kind of been the gist with talking to people sometimes in other countries. Yeah, bad signal, Joel. I'm guessing. Yeah. All right, all. I'll post this and then again we'll have to do a part two. All right, take care.